Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So finally coming back to Scareclaw. This is a deck that I have actually been meaning to come back to for some time. It just kind of either keeps slipping my mind, or it's just like there's, just enough other decks that I haven't really been able to divert as much attention to it as I would normally like to. But we are here with Scareclaw. Now, I don't think I've actually covered the deck since Water Enchantress has gone to 2. So again, very, very eager to dive into it a little bit here. Scareclaw, for those who don't know, is one of the... Actually, I think it is the first VODS archetype that we got. It's, I think, the first one of the lore, anyway. And even though it is the one that probably sees the least amount of play, I definitely think it is still an extremely solid archetype in its own right. Unless, like, the Vita stuff is its own archetype, yeah, then that one sees the least play. But the Scareclaw deck is quite good. It's not only very good at setting up solid turn 1 boards, but it's also easy to OTK with this deck, both in thanks to the Scareclaw Tryhard. Another cool thing about this deck is that if you can build, like, if you already have Monadium built, if you already have like all the stuff for it, it's really easy to also play this deck as well. The only URs you need in addition to the Monadium stuff is 2 copies of Tryhard. That's it. If you have everything for Monadium, you can play this deck. Unless you're only on 2 Rykart, you do need 3 of these, but that would then be, I guess, the only other UR. But I think it's kind of 50-50 whether Monadium's on 2 or 3, so... For this particular deck, we are also playing a single copy of the VODS Starfrost. That enables us a couple of nice extra deck options. Barrel and Defleur with any of our level 4s. That could be the Rykart or our Adventure token. It could also potentially help us set up a Vicious Astrolaud, which especially during grind games can be particularly useful for helping us come back as well. VODS is also very useful with Lightheart, or really paired with any Scareclaw monster, to help set up a Tryhard as well. The main combo pieces you'll need to set up a Tryhard are, you'll usually need access to a couple of different Scareclaw monsters. It can really be any 2, but that is why we're playing 3 of each of the main deck ones. Or again, if you open any of the Scareclaw monsters plus VODS, that can also get you into a Tryhard. But Tryhard is also completely generic. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but this card only takes 3 effect monsters to make. So you can actually get a little creative when it comes to setting this up for turn 1 and how you want to do that, right? There's a lot of different ways it could, in theory, be done. So again, we have the help of the Adventure package here as well. The only normal summon on a normal summon effect we have is that of Rykart, and that can potentially conflict sometimes, but if you have, again, any other of the main deck Scareclaw monsters, then what you can do is, instead of normal summoning Rykart getting the Surge, you can normal summon the other Scareclaw, then special Rykart to the adjacent zone, and then you'll still get the Surge because you special summoned and not normal summoned it. I don't know, the build here is like fairly standard. I didn't really do anything too out of the ordinary with it. I don't know if there is really much else I would do with the build as far as like engines or stuff like that. You could of course not play Adventure, that is always an option. And indeed it would let you cut down to 40 cards and have more room for like hand traps and stuff, but I'm a big fan of the Adventure package, and I think setting up an Omni Negate in the form of the Griffin Rider before doing the rest of your plays is very nice. This deck is particularly susceptible to Nibiru. It doesn't really have any good plays through Nib. It doesn't end on like a negate to stop it or anything. Again, that's why the Adventure package, one of the reasons why it's so good. As far as like Ash Blossom, I wouldn't suggest using Ash Blossom against the Lightheart. I would definitely probably wait for the Phobia in case they're already holding a copy in hand. But if you have Valor or Imperm, there's a number of different arguments you can make. You could make an argument for negating the Lightheart and stopping the search that way. That's kind of like that's a little bit more of the risky negate. The safe negate, if you have Imperm in particular, would be to wait until your turn to negate the Tryhard. That way it's not going to force all of your opponent's monsters into, or all of your monsters rather, into defense mode, right? So if you have Effect Valor, though, then it might be more useful to use against Lightheart. But again, you could make an argument for Imperming this as well. Again, it really comes down to, do you want to take a chance, negate the Lightheart, and hope that'll end their turn, or do you want to let them play out their board and then negate the Tryhard on your turn? You could also Valor the Tryhard when it goes to use this effect, but of course you will still have to deal with this during your turn there. Scareclaw Tryhard is a really interesting boss monster. I think it's really well designed, actually. It is strong, and the effect feels like a lot to deal with, but it doesn't feel like horribly oppressive, right? It's not like Baguska where it changes everything to defense mode and negates it. It simply is unaffected by the activated effects of defense mode monsters, which leaves it quite open to a lot of things, right? Continuous effects of those defense mode monsters. Link monsters can't be turned to defense mode. Spell and trap cards, Disruption in general still handles this card. Hand and graveyard effects will still activate. Will still affect it, rather, because it's not affected by only defense position monsters, which obviously a monster in the hand or graveyard can't be in defense mode. So there are a number of ways to out-tryhard, which makes it, I think, I think it's a very well-designed boss monster. I think it's also really cool, again, that it's totally generic, but at the same time, you don't see the splash and everything, because it's not the kind of boss monster that will fit nicely into every single deck, right? So it's neat. I don't know. I think it's really neat. As far as the extra deck goes, again, we're not doing like too much out of the ordinary here. We have the Astrolabe and the Baron here for the VODS. You can also, of course, make Baron with like Ash Blossom plus Scareclaw Cash or Wandering Griffin Rider there. We also have, I guess you can also do it with like Ash Blossom plus one of the 3s plus a 4. But anyway, we also have a little bit of a Zeus package. I have the Fortune Tune Downward Zeus just to like bail us out if we need it. 2 light hearts, yep, and then, again, a lot of just fairly standard extra deck stuff here. The extra deck itself is pretty wide open. I would say probably all these Link monsters are needed, but I think everything in this extra deck that's not a Link monster is, like, totally up for cutting if you'd like to. There is one other Link monster I would ideally like to be playing, and that is the Link Spider. It's a little niche, doesn't come up super often, but it's not even for playing through Nib like a lot of other decks you'd put this card in. It's actually to link off for the adventure token, or link off the adventure token rather, and then you can use the Link Spider to help you go into Tryhard, because this does take effect monsters, or like Access Code, or Appaloosa, because again, all these big Link monsters, you can't make them with the adventure tokens, so if you want to use a token as a material for them, you would need to first turn it into a Link Spider. I'd honestly probably cut the Vysis, Vicious, Astrolabe, and Baron before the Zeus package. If I really wanted to include Link Spider, that would also free up another slot in the extra deck, as well as a slot in the main deck as well, if you're looking to make some possible changes. Again, you could just cut the Adventure Engine, that's also fine, and then you wouldn't need Link Spider at all. And just keep the same extra deck, and again, have more room for hand traps. So, lots of different ways you can build this deck. Let's go ahead and break the list down card by card, and we'll see some of the games here. Got 1 Effect Veiler, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom Android Spring, 2 Water Enchanters of the Temple, 3 Scareclaw Astra, 3 Scareclaw Bellone, 3 Scareclaw Acro, 3 Scareclaw Rykart, 1 Vysis Starfrost, 1 Wandering Griffin Rider, 2 Scareclaw Kashira, 1 Nibiru the Primal Being, 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 2 Rite of Armiseer, 2 Scareclaw Rival, 1 Dracoback the Rideable Dragon, 2 Primitive Planet Reichphobia, 1 Fateful Adventure, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Cross-Out Designator, 3 Infinite Permanents, and then 1 Scareclaw Twinsaw. That's going to do it for the 42 card main deck. For the extra, we are on 1 Vicious Astrolabe, 1 Baron de Fleur, 1 number 49 Fortune Tune, 1 Downward Magician, 1 Divine Arsenal Zeus Sky Thunder, 2 Scareclaw Lightheart, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Asa the Earth Charmer Immovable, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, 1 SP Little Knight, 2 Scareclaw Tryhard, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, and then 1 Access Code Talker. That's going to do it for our list. Let's see some duels. One thing I did forget to mention during the profile is that these games were played during viewer duels that happened on the stream earlier this week. So, as always, if you are interested in participating in these duels or catching the streams or the VODs, check out the description below for my Twitch link. So, we're in a duel room, that's why you can see our opponent's hands. As usual, for the first game here, we're going to show more of just playing through, like, an average turn 1 board, right? As you can see, we have a very good turn 1 hand. We have multiple Scareclaw monsters and access to the adventure line, so that's pretty much everything we want to see. Gonna lead with the adventure stuff, starting with Rite of Armiseer for the adventure token. Misplayed here. I normal summoned the Rykart. I should have normal summoned the Bellone, but we already have the Arrival in hand, so it's really not that big of a deal. But I did miss out on an extra search. Actually, I think I missed out on a search and a draw, because I definitely could have had... No, I would have only had 2 defense mode monsters. Never mind. I could have actually finagled my way into a draw, but I would have had to go a little out of my way to do it. Anyway, gonna make the Lightheart here. Lightheart F is going to attempt to add Reichphobia. Here, Marigold is going to end up using the Imperm. So, I actually end up missing out on 2 searches, one inadvertently and then one due to the Imperm. The rest of Marigold's hand, unfortunately, does not look that good for them there. We're going to special the Balone, use the Arrival we opened for the Reichheart. We can actually use the Reichheart here now to search and draw Twin Saw plus Reichphobia. So I actually did get the draw and search here. Okay, there's the Triheart. Here we can search the Twin Saw because, again, we won't need the Arrival. Triheart's effect is set up Balone and then the Acro, setting Twin Saw before passing back over. So, I actually didn't even really need the Reichphobia search here, but I could have set up another monster, another Scareclaw monster on the board. But this is a pretty, again, actually that's a little bit of an above average turn 1 end board. Mainly, as long as you have the Triheart on your board, like that's really all you need to get down on turn 1. But of course, the Adventure Package offers some nice installation. I really like, if you're going to set up the Scareclaw monsters, I like prioritizing Acro. I guess if you're setting it up on turn 1, that is. I like prioritizing Acro to give the attack buff to the Triheart, making it a little harder to deal with. If it's turn 2, I would rather prioritize Astra, I think, for multiple attacks, but it also depends on the board state, so. Here I believe Marigold's just going to end up conceding, because, yeah. They did draw the King Sark. Oh, they're on Horus Cashier. I don't remember if I said that. I don't think I did. But they did end up drawing the King Sark there. But, yeah, with the fully set up turn 1 board. Again, I only wanted to show this game so that way I could establish what an average turn 1 for the Scareclaw deck looks like. It's really not that complicated of a combo. Again, it mostly just involves opening 2 Scareclaw monsters, normally 1, going for Lightheart, adding the Reichphobia, activating Reichphobia for Reichheart, specialing, adding the Arrival, drawing. From there, you could honestly well, actually, you only need the 1 Scareclaw monster, right? Because you normal Scareclaw, link it off for Lightheart, add the Field Spell, activate the Field Spell F, add Reichheart, special Reichheart to Lightheart Zone, add Arrival. Oh, but then you would need, you don't have a monster in the graveyard, so you do actually need a second body. Regardless, though, it's not that difficult to set up the Triheart there. And some additional stuff, as we saw here. Let's see our next game, though, for some more back and forth and kind of engaging duels. Okay, our next opponent, Iris from LA, that is their full name, is going to be on Rika's Sun Avalon, so good old plants. We're going to take the first turn again here. And this time, no, we have the full kind of setup here. I almost missed the Reichphobia in our hand there, but yeah, no, this should be enough for another full turn 1 setup here. Okay, got the Adventure token down. Here's the Wandering Griffin Rider that's going to trigger the Fateful Adventure. It's a little unlucky that we opened the Griffin Rider, but it's really not that big of a deal. But that is, I mean, like any Adventure deck, I am going to definitely go over 40, so that way I don't open the, I'm not as concerned about the Griffin Rider, although I kind of don't want to open that because I can search it, but same for the Fateful and the Dracoback, but especially the Dracoback. Dracoback's the worst one to open of the Adventure Package. Honestly, like, Fateful and Griffin Rider definitely have uses if you open them. I consider Dracoback to be the only, like, real Garnet card, I think, in the archetype there, so we can use the extra Water Enchantress to help make the Triheart here in this case, because not really many other ways we can do it, I don't think. Unfortunately, we don't have access to any of the level 3 Scareclaws in the graveyard there, so. Leading with Unexpected Die, I'm going to chain the Maxi to it, I'm not going to negate it. I want to save my Omni for a different point in the combo line if possible here. Iris is going to triple tack to take control. I kind of have to use the Griffin Rider here, because if they take control of Triheart, they can just link it off. This card can actually be used as a link material, by the way. So it can be used to go into like Appaloosa or Access Code if you really need to. Or, if you're playing against this deck and you steal it, you can go into one of those cards. Okay, Mudan's going to end up adding Rika Con F to set the Rika sheet. And I think that's all that they, yeah, so not playing into the Maxi anymore beyond that here. Getting a couple of the level 3 Scareclaws is a pretty huge help. I'm going to start by using the Dracoback. I guess targeting the Con, I wasn't really sure. Rika's sheet is, of course, going to get chained as a result of that. That'll let them take control of the Triheart, which is definitely not ideal, but it is something I think that we can deal with here. Gonna grab the Rite of Armistier off the Water Enchantress in the graveyard, set that all up again. And now that I have 3 defense mode monsters, I can actually use the field spell F to pop my Tryhard. Although, I don't know, maybe I should just pop their field spell. I guess it didn't really matter that much, but I didn't want to have to, like, as bad as it sounds, I didn't want to have to, like, think about it too much, like, trying to push through the Tryhard and still find lethal afterward. They do have a Rika Princess here to negate the VODS F in my hand. I was going to try to make a Baron de Fleur, but I'll just end up using the Fateful Adventure to grab Wandering Griffin Rider instead, sending away that VODS. Now I can summon the Astra and link everything off, including that Griffin Rider, in order to go for the Tryhard. Again, Tryhard being completely generic in terms of materials actually ends up being very, very helpful a lot of the time. So I can bring back Astra for multiple battles, summon the Reichardt. Note that I put Reichardt in the wrong zone here, but it didn't end up mattering because I top-decked Acro anyway, so I got bailed out here. But I think it needs to be to a zone... what does Astra say? Hang on. Your Scareclaw monster in the EMZ can attack... Oh, no. Okay, I'm good. Never mind. I thought I was missing out on an attack because Tryhard wasn't pointing to Reichardt, but it actually didn't matter. Okay, good. Yeah, so I think that Balone cares... No. Actually, none of them care where they're actually placed, do they? Oh, I never realized that. I thought that Tryhard had to point to them, but no. They just have to have a Scareclaw monster in the EMZ. I see. Okay, so we were good there. I thought I misplayed, but we were actually pretty good there. So, yeah, that's another kind of pretty typical turn 1 style game from the Scareclaw deck. That one's showing a bit more progressive gameplay and showing, like, the comeback, or not really comeback, but the crackback, I guess is the word I was looking for, to battle for game on turn 3. Got a couple more games to see. Let's check out this next one here. Alright, so our next opponent is going to be Alnick. Alnick's playing a really, really cool deck here. Alnick is on Melffy Goiti, which is a deck I think I've either seen or played against in one of these viewer duels before with them, but either way, it's a very, very cool build. Here they're going to start the Obedience School, not mentioning the Maxi, they have a cross out. It's funny, when it comes to the viewer duels, you know, people always ask, like, are there, like, certain limitations of a deck to bring? And I'm always like, no. Bring your most competitive stuff, or, like, whatever stuff you want to bring, really, right? But a lot of the time people ask, like, oh, should I take out Max C? And I'm like, no. We always fight at full force in our viewer duel rooms. There is no mercy in this dojo. So, but that said, I am always relieved. Like, if I open Max C against someone, like, a viewer in the viewer duel room, right? I'm always, like, hoping in my head, I'm like, please have it out to this, please have it out. And I'm always very relieved when they do Ash Blossom across out the Max C. I don't really feel that strongly if I get Max C, that's whatever, but, like, I don't know, I don't like the idea of, like, you know, being the one setting up the room and then Max seeing people. It feels a little dirty for some reason, but anyway. Gonna use the rival to bring back that Balone that was destroyed by the Calantosa. I talked over the Joyous Melffy Exceed, by the way. They were able to set up all 3 of these under the Obedient School cards under the Joyous Melffy, then bring them back with the Melffy F to make all of their effects live. So Melffy Penny is sinking for 6 here, going for the Area Nops. That's how we're going to access the Goiti package. I thought they were going to go for, like, Desert Locust and try to, like, hand rip me, and then maybe go for an Excel Stardust into a level 10. But no, Alnick has, Alnick has some other ideas in mind here. Going for the Goiti of the Deep Beyond. It's actually kind of funny how well these 2 archetypes synergize with each other. You wouldn't think off the top of your head that Melffy and Goiti would have anything in common, right? In terms of, like, type and attribute, and a lot of mechanically what they're trying to do doesn't tend to always be the same, but just the fact that they're trying to synchro a lot on the opponent's turn with a lot of level 2s, I think definitely makes them a very fairly cohesive strategy to put the 2 of them together. So, as you can see here, I am actually able to finagle my way into a Tryhard, despite getting my board wiped, or the whole board wipes by the Goiti of the Deep Beyond. But I can't put out enough damage for lethal, because I don't actually have any of the level 3s in my graveyard, any of the level 3 Scareclaw monsters, which means I can't access the Tryhard effect. That's one of the reasons why I like playing 3 of each of the level 3s. I see some builds on like 3 Astra, 2 Balone, 2 Acro. I really do think you have to end up maxing out on level 3s. Not only because opening any 2 Scareclaw monsters is, you know, your combo line, but also for reasons like this. Like, having access to the level 3s for the tryhard is just so important, right? Now, as you can see here, Alan is actually having a little bit of trouble outing the tryhard here. That's kind of what I mean, where, like, tryhard isn't the most difficult card to out, but some decks, or rather, if you're in some certain situations, it can be very difficult to do so. Now, here, as I'm starting to assemble monsters on the board, they're going to start doing more Goiti stuff. Alright, going for an 8. That's going to be the one that banishes on my field, right? The Ascon, yeah. Banishes a card on each field, I think it does, yeah. So they can get rid of my Astra, which will prevent me from doing multiple battles. And it'll actually prevent me from winning the duel this turn, but... Ooh, with the Royal Pasties, too. It's so beautiful. Thankfully, they all have 0 defense, which is, like, very good for me. I'm also very glad I got rid of the Macrocosmos when I did with the field spell. Oh, yeah, and look at this. I'm, like, actually running a copy of Helios the Primordial Sun for the macro. Some people might not know that Macrocosmos does have another effect beyond just banishing stuff, summoning the Helios the Primordial Sun, and here Alan is actually rocking a copy of it. It's pretty good, it's pretty good. Funny, too, that Helios is a Pyro. You could technically search it with Bonfire if you really wanted to, which is kind of cute, but... I think here what it does more than anything else is acting as a level 4 body to sync with. Like, that's actually huge for Alan here. Like, as far as, like, being able to make plays and stuff. And then we have the Melffy caddy at the end as well. That's good, that's good. Alright, Pasty is coming back. Now... I could start popping stuff with Reichphobia, but the problem with that is that anything I target, they're just going to sync with. So I started by threatening to go to battle phase. That's why Alnick flipped up Imperm seemingly randomly. It's because I threatened to move to battle phase and just battle over the tuners, right? And the Imperm, of course, getting the Tryhard means that stuff is going to come out in attack mode, and moreover, that my Tryhard is going to be affected by monster effects at this rate. So here is the Goiti of the Deep Beyond yet again, although this one will actually get to do... Well, the last one got to do the board wipe as well, to be fair, but this one will affect the Tryhard, because again, it's negated. So, do have an extra Acro in my hand. I'm going to use that to go for Lightheart, but unfortunately, I just don't have any Reichphobias left in my deck, so... This is, I will say, if I was willing to invest more UR into this deck, I think that's what I would add, is probably a third Reichphobia. For grind games like this one, this is not the first grind game where needing that has come up for me, but, you know, I mean, Scareclaw, it's just one of those decks I play once every 2, maybe 3 seasons, so it's like, I can't justify dropping more UR on it, because I just don't play it often enough to do so, but if you were looking to main Scareclaw, I would probably play a third Reichphobia, maybe even a third Lightheart, but probably just the third Reichphobia is all you would super need, but... GG's Alnick, that was a very good game, with a very cool deck from them. We do still have one more game to see, though. Let's finish off with that one. And our final opponent is going to be Shadow O, who is on a fairly pure P.U.N.K deck. There is the Xyz armor package as well, but that's a very small supplemental engine that's mostly in the extra deck, although we do see the full armored Xyz in the opening hand here. But... yeah, I was a little surprised to not see another... I think it's cool, though, to not see another main deck package, like the Kashtira's, or Horus, or Gold Pride. Now, Shadow O is going for a pure P.U.N.K, which I definitely respect. Also teching Lullaby of Obedience, which I think will end up coming up here later, but... saving the Ash Blossom for the Reichphobia, I definitely do think is the way to go here. Here we do also open the Visus, though, which means that with the method you see here of popping the Lightheart, summoning Visus, and then bringing back Lightheart, in addition to the extra Scareclaw monster we had, we are able to still make the Tryhard. One of those was a 3, so I can bring back the Blown and then grab the Acro. Again, I like prioritizing Acro because it gives the attack buff, which is the best effect going into the opponent's turn. So, leading with Xayamine, I decided to Imperm and see if this would stop their turn. It's kind of 50-50 whether it does. Maybe I could have waited for... I should have tried to remember, because you can Imperm Rising Carp, right? Yeah, because it's like Rescue Cat. You can Imperm Rising Carp, and then if it tributes itself, it won't activate. Or won't resolve. I probably should have just waited for that then, but... I don't know. Well, I thought, because I was like, oh, I have Maxi as well, so I should be fine. But as you can see, Shadow O also has the Called By here, which again, I will say that I am a little relieved when the opponent has the out for Maxi during viewer duels. But I'm trying to think, if I had let the Rising Carp go, then they would still have access, or if I had let the Xayamine go and negated the Rising Carp, they would still have access to E-Tele, and still be able to sync for an 11 here. Okay, here's Jam Dragon Drive, as well as Deernoth's Fs are both activating here. Deernoth's going to bring back one of the tuners. Yeah, the Sharkusai, and then Jam Dragon Drive going for the Madam Spider. Ooh, that was a good draw. That was a great draw off the field spell there. Also using the field spell to summon the Madam Spider, adding not only the Goblin, but also getting another draw off the field spell. Another really good one, that Extender, the Psychic Tracker there. That's going to allow them to make the Cicada King as well. Cicada King offering even more negates here. Alright, Gabu F is going to negate the Tryhard. And then immediately afterward, Sharkusai and Jam Dragon Drive, still during my draw phase, are going to sync for the Amazing Dragon here. Amazing Dragon going to then bounce my whole field, or all my monsters anyway. The Scareclaws, it doesn't really matter too much if they get bounced. I can just resummon them. And then just like start specialing them off their own Fs. I'm going to lead with the Reichphobia here. I wanted to see if it would resolve. Sure enough, Shadow O does have that Ash Blossom, so... it's also worth noting that E-Tele... Actually, I don't remember if they're on Ghost Ogre or not, but it's worth noting that the set E-Tele isn't really just like a bluff or anything. It could potentially be used, again, against like a... or rather to summon Ghost Ogre and use that as another like point of disruption, right? Anyway, I don't really see too much way out of this situation beyond just going for a Zeus, so I'm going to do that here with the number 49 Fortune Tune. Not activating just right off the bat, especially because Cicada King will end up doing one of the negates there. Or doing one of the negates, that's a weird way to phrase that. It will negate one of my board wipes there, so I have to do both right off the bat. Not ideal by any means, but it is what it is. But I definitely want to do this now so that way they don't get a draw off the field spell. It's my main motivation for doing it when... Actually, if I'd remembered that Jam Dragon Drive was going to get summoned... There is Ghost Ogre, it's right there. If I'd remembered that Jam Dragon Drive was going to get summoned, I probably would have just board wiped like during my turn. But as you can see, it really wouldn't have ended up mattering, because they can still definitely just normal summon the Xayamine anyway. Specialing Dragite here, there's a kind of funny moment that's coming up here, actually, yeah. So, we're using the Dragite Excavate effect to see if we have exactly Nibiru in our top 5. And it's actually right there, so we actually get to bounce the Zeus. And, not have to worry about, like, going into a Pepper Sling just to battle over it here, right? Now, I did manage to rip the right of our Messire, but of course, as we all know, Dragite has the ability to negate spell and trap cards if there is a water monster in the graveyard. And you might be wondering, does P.U.N.K play a water monster? It does. It is the Rising Carp. There it is right there. So, there's the Lullaby of Obedience. I chose summon Maxi to their field, and then we actually end up giving them the ability to go into the Gnat Beast, which I think is really, really funny. So... that'll end up doing it there. GG's Shadow O. GG's to everyone who came out for viewer duels for this particular stream. And thank you to everyone who watched all these games. Let us go ahead and move on now to our outro.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for supporting there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.